and welcome to another episode of the Reckless Paradise Podcast. I am your host, Dystro, and if you know this by now, the last episode with Marissa was on Sunday, and she has completely gave me the whole thing. I got the reins to the whole podcast. If you guys don't know, go watch her episode on what is going on right now. But long story short, she needs to take a little bit of a break right now to deal with some family issues and all that stuff. And her father's in poor health, so I wish them the best of luck and all that stuff. But also it's another Thursdays with Dystro and all stuff. And also happy 4th of July, everybody. Hopefully your 4th of July is going really splendidly. Uh, I know mine is because I had to work 11 to 6 today, but you know what? It's a whole new month, new batch of episodes down for Thursdays and all that stuff. I really don't know what else to go with at this point, but I have a huge um, Throwback Thursday episode for us right now. So now, with that being said, when you think of 4th of July, you think of the fireworks and the barbecues and all that stuff. But if you think about it in the wrestling terms, you think about the Great American Bash. Now, Great American Bash every year was always on, usually around the 4th of July weekend, and it started I think in early '80s. I could be wrong about that. If anybody knows, leave it in the comments down below. But Marissa had tasked me on picking or choosing some random matches from decades past in the Great American Bash form, from past to present, whatever. And I had picked out a few. I can't remember how many I picked out, but let's just get right into it. So I had picked out 8 in total. Now, this could be, like I said, from early on to now and all that stuff. But the first one I am wanting to talk about and is an all-time classic. It is from the Great American Bash, 1989, and it is the most famous Flair versus Funk match. I don't know if another one of their epic rivalry and all that stuff. I know at one of the clashes that year, that was the infamous I Quit match and all that stuff, which Flair makes Terry Funk submit and all that stuff. Yeah, you can't make me submit, you son of a bitch. And but this match in particular, I don't really know much about it, but '89 was a really good I guess financial peak for wrestling, if you want to call it that. I might do a wrestling year in review on that point, which that's going to be kind of tough to do, which I'm really, really down for. But it's an all time classic. I recommend you guys go watch it if you haven't already. Um, Another one from the next year in 1990, so we're going a year forward. It's another Flair match, and it's Sting versus Flair, and I think this is where Sting gets his first world title run. I'm guessing. I could be wrong. But like I said, I don't go into these I go into these shows kind of with a lot of knowledge and all that stuff, but there's some I don't really know much about. But like I said, leave it in the comments below if I missed anything. But another classic Flair match and all that stuff, and plus Flair around this time, this is before he goes to WWF and brings the world title with him and all that stuff. So it's this is a really good point in Flair's career as a wrestler. Now, jumping ahead 6 years into the future at Great American Bash 1996. Now, there's 2 matches from this specific pay-per-view, and I'm going to talk about both of them kind of in depth, I guess. The first one being Mysterio versus Dean Malenko. This is an all-time, WCW cruiserweight classic between the Luchador versus the Technician. It's high flying versus groundwork and all stuff. And plus, Dean Malenko and Rey Mysterio, like they've always put on like absolute classics against each other, which is good to say. Like as as like I've grown and watched like Rey Mysterio and all that stuff. Um, it's good to see like I've actually seen majority of this pay per view, um, but it's like it's you always have to open up with the cruiserweights in, in any fashion. Um, which I mean, it's a 5-star classic in my mind. Now, the next match that I'm going to be talking about is, like I said, it's from the exact same pay per view. It's Chris Benoit versus Kevin Sullivan. Now, I know we can't really get around the Chris Benoit thing because once you talk about it, it's like you gotta talk about it. But this is during the period where it was the Kevin Sullivan wanted his wife Nancy at the time to go on the road with Chris and you know, be his handler, I guess, if you want to call it that. But then, the whole thing comes to a head where it's like, Nancy falls in love with Chris on the road. And so now they're, an official item and all that stuff. And then you basically have Kevin Sullivan, who's the booker at the time, facing off against Chris Benoit. It's a whole shit show. If you want to learn a little bit more about it, go watch our Chris Benoit episode on this topic. Well, I will give you parental advisory is advised on that episode. Deals with a lot of heavy topics, so your discretion is advised on that. But furthermore, let's talk about the very first, I guess, the very first Great American Bash, I think in 83, 84. I could be wrong about that too. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Um, it was the very first ever War Games match. Now, when I think of War Games, it's like, you think of like the all-time classic from Wrestle War 1992 with Steam Squadron versus the Dangerous Alliance and all that stuff. But this is like, peak like NWA, WCW, War Games. Now, I think if I can recall, the teams were Dusty Rhodes, Paul Ellering, the Road Warriors, and oh god, I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Nikolai Volkov, I think, or yeah, Nikolai Volkov, I think, or Nikita. I'm trying to think of his name. I'm sorry, but it's like I said, it's been a long day. But versus the Four Horsemen, which is like Flair, Luger, Tully, and Arn, and then you have J.J. Dillon in their corner. It's an all time like very first like good concept of the war games and all that stuff. And shout out to Dusty for making that happen. If we didn't get a War Games, I don't think it would have been on the main roster now. So kudos to Dusty. Thank you for giving us this all-time classic match, even though it's been through so many damn iterations in this lifetime. But we do really appreciate you for that. So now that we move on to I guess my all-time favorite classic Great American Bash match is the Macho Man versus DDP. Now, before I get started on this, I just want to, I guess, go over what I know about the rivalry and stuff. But I had to bring in like kind of a special guest for it. It's it's a it's not it's a character that I've had, but it's like, but I don't know. I'll give it to you. Here you go, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. Now, I wanted to talk to you guys about the Macho Man Randy Savage vs. DDP, yeah, from the Great American Bash 1997, yeah. Yeah, it's good to see you too, Randy. I know you've been dead for like so many years, but like tell us about like what it impacted for you and all that stuff. Well, it was a good time for getting DDP over, yeah. It was a good time for getting me over too, cause I was always with the boys in the back, and I was trying to get myself over with the boys, and also I was with the NWO for life. Yeah. How did that work out for you? Well, really didn't go so well. Yeah, I understand that because you were super not in your own head, but you're also super into your own ass a little bit. What are you talking about? Well, I mean, you were trying to fight control over the NWO and you're fighting against Hogan a lot. I mean, you were always butting heads. And also, during that match, weren't you trying to pile drive Kimberly Page as well? Yeah, but I mean, she got in my way. If you get in my way, I'm gonna put you down. But okay, Randy, I understand you wanted to do that, but you don't have to do that. Okay, this was DDP's match, and DDP kind of had to get over on you. No offense. It's like, yeah, none taken, none taken. I had to put the stars of tomorrow over you. I understand that, Randy, and I really do appreciate you coming on and and just talking to it about. It. No problem, man. I'm gonna go take my cat nap now. Okay. All right. See you, Randy. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry about that. I just had to do that real quick. But with that being said, all jokes aside, this match is like really freaking good. It is a star-making performance for DDP2 because within the last three pay-per-views, it was this one, Halloween Havoc, and I think could be Starcade. I can't remember. I think Spring Stampede. I think that's what it was. Um, these two had like hellacious wars against each other. Um, and it was always like no DQ matches or like submit like whatever. It was like they were just using anything from pillar to post. Like they were just beating the absolute shit out of each other, and I was here for it. Um, this trilogy of matches that they both had was like really good, and I really want to dive into it a little bit more. But I mean that being said, it's like let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now we're gonna wind it back a little bit. We're gonna go back to the Great American Bash 1990. Now on the exact same pay per view, it's like I said with Sting versus Flair, we had an all time classic tag team old school wrestling match. We had the new Midnight Express with Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton. Rest in peace to Bobby Eaton. Versus the Wild Eye Southern Boys of Tracy Smothers and Brad Armstrong. Sorry, I had a little pause there. This match, man, this was a huge improvement in the later on into the night because the crowd was kind of not hot for like some of the other stuff later on or earlier on, but this tag team match with Midnight Express versus Southern Boys, this was really good. It was just old school wrestling, like '90s wrestling. About all four were like really good equals to each other. And plus you had Jim Cornette in the Midnight Express's corner. I mean, come on, who does not remember Midnight Express Jim Cornette? And this match in particular, it's like one of my all time favorite like tag team matches of like the '90s and all that stuff. I mean, like once you go in like later on in the late '90s, you have like Edge and Christian versus Hardys and stuff. But it's like we have early '90s tag team wrestling. It's like you would always think of this match in particular. And I'm actually kind of glad that I got to watch it, kind of. shout out to Wrestling with Regret on that. He gave it, I think 4 or 4.5 stars. It is a really good match too. Even though like I'm not really a big fan of tag team wrestling a little bit, but it's one of those like tag team matches that you need to like really sit down and watch if you want to. All right, so now we're on to the final match of my list. It is another War Games match, and it's from the Great American Bash of 1989. Now, this War Games match is not very popular with some people, but I still enjoy it. It is the Road Warriors, the Midnight Express, and Dr. Death Steve Williams versus the Fabulous Freebirds and the Samoan SWAT team. Um, like I said, it's not very popular with some people, but I did like it because of the time period. Because this is before Road Warriors become like they're very well known and all that stuff. And then you have the Midnight Express, where before like they split up and go their separate ways, and they have Doctor Death, Steve Williams, like just coming in off of like I think Japan and all that stuff because he's like this big burly dude and all that stuff. And then you have the Fabulous Freebirds before Terry Gordy goes to do his thing with Doctor Death. Then you have like Michael P.S. Hayes and Jimmy Jam Garvin doing their thing and all that stuff. And then you have the Swan SWAT team. So you have like all these different people, but you also have this different like formulaic entities and all that stuff in these like different things of history because like a lot of teams are going to split off, some teams are going to come together, so it's like, and then a lot of teams are going to be like coming or becoming different gimmicks and all that stuff like, and you have the first future Rikishi in the Samoan SWAT team and all that stuff too. So it's actually pretty cool to like see like future stars in the making, but also seeing the past and all that stuff in a way. Um, I will say this though, it's like I said, it's not really popular with a lot of people, but I really enjoyed it. Um, I would seek this out too, um, but the all time favorite War Games match to me is Wrestle War '92 because it is 5 stars, hands down the best War Games match of all time. And I still stand to that testament to this day. Um, I will, fight to the death for it. It is really that good. So that was my list of the, I guess, my greatest matches of Great American Bash history. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and also what are your favorite Great American Bash matches? I could be missing a huge bunches of them, but it's like I wanted to narrow it down to like the stuff that I knew, but I could be missing like a lot of stuff, like because the Great American Bash didn't come back until like 2022, 2021, so it was like a huge space of time there. But it's good to have their your own opinions, and your own opinions matter in this case. And I just wanted to share my love and my wrestling knowledge for old school stuff, which I mean it's not bad, I don't think. But that is going to wrap it up for this Throwback Thursday. Leave it in the comments below what you guys think. So for tonight's song of the night. Now, my song of the night for this Thursday is going to be from Sum 41. Now, I know that comes as a little bit of a shocker for some people, but is off their latest album from earlier this year and is called Dopamine. Which, I mean, it's been played like so much around the Canadian rock stations and maybe New York stations and all that stuff. But I want to give this song a little bit more love because it's kind of like it's very mellow at the start, but then it kind of kicks in to high gear towards the beginning of it, and it's been on my mind for a few days now. So I rather give that song some love. And also, while you're there, please go give us a subscribe and a like if you like this sort of thing. And also, go to our link tree. We have Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, this YouTube page. We also have a Reddit, which I will be posting there every Thursday because I won't be able to upload anything that Marissa's doing on Sundays anymore because she's not doing any Sunday episodes anymore due to her father's poor health, which like I said at the beginning of the episode, hopefully he gets better, but it's not really the case right now. But she decided to step away for a little bit, which I mean, it's all power to her. But she handed me the reins to keep this channel and keep this podcast, keep it moving. So I'm gonna keep doing that in her honor, and I will do her proud. And also, while you're here, please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am on the road to 1,500 subscribers at this moment. I don't know what I'm at this point, but I think I'm at 1427 right now. I could be closer to 1450 maybe at the time of this recording. I really don't know at this point, but I'm just gonna keep chugging along and just keep the train moving for this podcast. But yeah, tonight's song of the night is Dopamine by Sum 41. And that's it. I will see you next Thursday for another episode with Dystro. Peace!